Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms, Mike Zaglin of Madrone Investment Advisory, and Patti Cohen of Pacific Union Realty. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Now you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. The vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Today's trivia theme is riddles. So we'll ask a riddle and see if you can answer it, okay? Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on television also. Comcast Channel 26, AT&T Channel 99, Saturdays at noon, Sundays at 6 p.m. Every once in a while, people come up to one of us on the streets and says, hey, I've seen you on TV. Mike, we're going to start off with you.
Okay.
Okay. What do you got for us?
Well, I recently put something up on our website, and it was basically what I often find when clients come in is they're not often always looking for a full-on financial plan, which can often run thousands of dollars, nor are they particularly looking for someone to manage their money, but they're looking for succinct advice or review of their entire financial situation, generally broad strokes, that can be done within a few hours. They may have specific questions. Should I be paying off my mortgage? How does my asset allocation look? A lot of them are do-it-yourselfers, or have been do-it-yourselers, some with good success, some with not.
There is a good, I can definitely see a need for that because, I remember the old days, people were charging, $5,000 for financial plans. They were, 3-4 inches thick, and they'd say, like, in exactly 4 years, you're going to have 2.4 kids, and all this kind of stuff that in 2 minutes was useless. So sure. I could see that.
Yeah, and most of the time, people don't even know where they're going to live in retirement. And they certainly don't know what their health care costs are going to be in the year 2047. And so, and not only that, but the expense of it. And the other problem people have is you often see a lot of, quote, financial advisors advertising, come on in, we'll do a retirement review, but a lot of it is just thinly disguised insurance sales or other product sales. And so people don't, they may need that, but they want to keep it separate. They want to make sure they're getting objective, expert advice first. And so, so I think there's a real need for that. And you'd be surprised how much can be accomplished in 2 hours. And what I do is I just usually set up a 2-hour meeting and then a follow-up meeting, because sometimes we cover quite a bit of material and I want to make sure they've understood what we've talked about. And it's not formal investment, legal, or tax advice, but it's enough to give them a good idea of where they should be, what issues they should be looking at, what they may be doing wrong. And I sort of approach it as, you're a do-it-yourselfer, and if you're not, fine. You can always retain me to help you with it, or go back to your own financial advisor. I think people need to have the freedom to just get advice, to pay for advice, to get advice. It's not a lot of money. I usually do this for $500 or $600.
I was going to say this 2-hour meeting can't be free for the kind of advice you're giving them.
And when it is free, watch out.
Yeah,
nothing's free.
Right.
You see all these advertisements for dinners and Social Security expertise, and in small print it says, we're selling annuities or things like that.
So if I was interested, let's say, in contacting you for that, what preparation would I need?
It would be good to bring in any recent brokerage statements you have, a recent tax return, your Social Security earnings history, because I always run the Social Security projections with that. That's a really easy thing to do. And so as part of it, I cover Social Security claiming strategies. Again, in 2 hours, you're not going to get highly detailed information on everything, but you're going to get a good idea of what your investments are costing, is your allocation appropriate, do you have enough saved for retirement? If not, how much longer should you be working? Should you be paying off a mortgage? Where are you going? And enough information, objective, truthful, factual.
And the thing is, you're not selling anything.
That's it. So, it's a closed-end thing. I don't even follow up with them unless they tell me to.
Yeah. They can actually use that information to go back to.
And if they're working with someone, great. That's great. A lot of times people are working with a financial advisor, but they have some concerns, and it's always good to get a second opinion. It never hurts, and especially if you have $500,000 or more, to pay $500 or $600 to get a second opinion
Absolutely.
with no agenda.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, a lot of times people say, look, we'll do a free portfolio review, but what they're really trying to do is find a way to criticize the portfolio so they can take it from the other advisor.
Yeah.
That's just common, and I don't think that needs to be done.
Free
People,
portfolio review, right?
Free portfolio
Yeah,
review,
exactly.
exactly.
They just want to steal your business away, whereas
In fact, we'll
you're a second set of
we'll
eyes.
pay you to.
Yeah.
I mean, why can't it just be a professional service? You know, you're charging a professional fee similar to what a CPA or an attorney would charge for a professional service. Why should you need to take the business? If the business is meant to come to you because they like you, great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it should just be a self-containing 2-hour meeting.
Well, here's the big deal is the fact that the average CPA and the average attorney don't have the skills for the kind of things that you're talking about.
Well, yeah, of course they have other skills, but
True,
they don't have
for
this
that
particular
specific one.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it'll definitely cost a lot more than $500 or $600 for a 2-hour meeting.
I mean, you know, I recently looked at a client who had about $1 million portfolio, and I went through his fees. It's easy to do, and I show my clients how to do that. I don't just give them a fish. I try to teach them to fish because I assume I won't see them again. And I show them how to find out what their fees are to protect themselves, to give them some education. And in this particular case, the fees were about $23,000 for $1 million portfolio, which is 2.3%. And it is. It's much too much.
Wow.
And so I tell them about alternatives. Now they don't have to take they don't have to take that, but they have the information.
Well, you know the old adage, you know, you give a man a fish, he's got fish for a day. You teach him to fish, and he'll sit in the boat drinking beer all day long. On the serious side,
Wait,
though,
I don't think it goes like that.
it doesn't go like that.
You must have seen me fishing this weekend.
Exactly. So, Mike, how do people get a hold of you if they want that?
I can be reached at 415-785-4585. And our website is www.madronellc.com.
And if you forget that, you just go to Best of Investing website, and you'll find them on there. Mark,
Awesome.
you've got an interesting article.
Well, we've got Patti Cohn here from Pacific Union, listing agent extraordinaire, and I thought this article, I saved it for this show. It was on the front page of the Chronicle a week or so ago, but it starts out by talking about, and you may have heard about this, they're doing a reality show called $1 Million Listing that's being based in San Francisco, and it's actually going to air in the next week or so. But the title of the article, and it was front page in the Chronicle, San Francisco home buying insanity, paying $1 million over list price. And so so getting back to the $1 Million Listing reality show, the author of this article says, we've got an idea for a spinoff, $1 Million Over Listing. And it goes on to talk about how so far this year, about 25 homes in the Bay Area, most of them in San Francisco, have sold for $1 million over the listing price, and what that is doing to the marketplace. Now, we're not, we've had a few of those in Marin, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
Patti?
Oh, yeah. In a bigger perspective, to think about what our priority is going for price per square foot. And in San Francisco, we're seeing things go for 2,000 square foot.
2,000 a square
Now,
foot.
yeah, it used to be that, I remember when 1,000 was very noteworthy. Very noteworthy, and it wasn't even that long ago. And now we're seeing 1,600, 2,000, not so much in the outlying areas as much, but that's really shocking. And really, the smaller the house, the higher the price per square foot, because most of the values in the land. But when you get these $8 million houses, $8 million sales, and it's 2,000 square foot, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd like to get a little bit deeper into this if we can after the.
I tell you what, yeah, let's go to a quick. Very good, Mark. I didn't even have to show the clock. It's time for a break. Okay, so we're going to cut to our first commercial break, and the theme is riddles. Okay, here we go. I start in July and end in November. What's my name? Can you decipher? That's a hard one. I start in July and end in November. What's my name? Can you decipher? Doesn't really rhyme, but okay. The first 3 callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Best of Investing.
So focus on real estate. I'm trying to think of my own name and my own listings. Oh my God. Let's see.
Save this one, y'all. Okay, this is going to be for July 4th. Well, you didn't cut out.
No, I had to breathe. Breathe.
Breathe, two, breathe.
Breathe.
Oh, good. Thank you for the
My personal
reminder.
friend will be telling me that many times tonight.
Exactly.
Breathe, breathe. I can't. It's killing me. Body kinetics and bottom.
I love that. That's what I do. You know, Mill Valley Health Club right next to Cantina. It's the same guys. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's and then they have one now downtown Center Valley just bought. Yeah, they're nice guys. Three
It's nice to
brothers.
see someone besides CrossFit getting some space.
I know.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's worse than 7-Eleven.
Yeah, there's like 56,000 of those. They're getting like 5,000 a month.
Wow.
CrossFits are on it.
A lot
Yeah.
of injuries at those places.
Yeah. That's true.
Really.
Okay, ready?
No mercy there.
There we go. And then who are we shooting to?
I need mercy.
Oh,
Back to me, and
Back
we'll,
to you,
we'll
okay.
continue the conversation about $1 million over list.
I gotta give an answer here. Okay. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, Patti Cohen, and Mike Zatlin. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this riddle. I start in July and end in November. What's my name? Can you decipher? Ready?
Yep.
Jason. J for July, A for August, S for September, O
Oh,
for October, N
nice.
for November. That's a tough one.
That is a hard one.
That is a hard one. Okay, now Mark, before we get to you, we did have last week a special trivia contest where the winner won a certificate that was good for 2 people on rafting on the Whitewater Connection. So let's see what we got here. Okay, looking for fun, exciting, action-packed trip this summer? Join Whitewater Connection on a rafting adventure down the middle or South Fork of the American River. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. It's exciting.
Oh, it's
a lot
so
of fun.
fun.
So
Yep,
fun. And you'll tackle class 3 and 4 rapids, and you can even make it an overnight trip and camp on the 40-acre private campground. So give them a call at 800-336-RAFT, all right? Or visit them at whitewaterconnection.com. They have the water. All they need is you. All right, so here was the question and then the answer. It has recently been discovered that chewing gum will help this. What? The answer was getting a song out of your head.
Oh.
Now I know how to
Wow.
do that. I know, because
Makes sense.
after Mark told me about the Munsters theme on that one song, it just was driving me crazy.
Right, there's that hit song that
yeah.
has that riff there. Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. And our winner was Brenda in Castro Valley. She must walk and chew gum at the same time. So, Mark, we're getting back to you.
So we started talking last segment about this phenomena, or insanity, if you want to call it, of homes in the Bay Area that are selling for $1 million over listing. And Patti, we've talked about this before, that in San Francisco there's actually this technique that many agents have adopted, this strategy of what some are calling egregious underpricing to create this kind of bidding frenzy. And what is it about San Francisco but it doesn't happen in other parts of the Bay Area?
Well, it's not that black and white, but I don't know why. That's just kind of the culture there and what's to be expected.
Huh.
But in some of the suburbs, if you did that, buyers don't know what to do with it. So it's just becomes everything. Buyers are conditioned to bid up. That's the bottom line. And in Marin, and say Walnut Creek, East Bay, it's kind of priced where the last sale was priced. I just recently sold a house. I closed yesterday. It was in East Corte Madera it was 1558 square feet. I priced it at 1,599 based on the one that was I sold it here.
1,000 square foot.
Yeah, and it sold at 1,762. A tiny little house.
I wonder if the fact that just there's more people in San Francisco, because of the population.
Well, and the money and the wealth that's happening
The
there.
funny thing is, I wouldn't live in San Francisco if you're crazy.
Well, a lot of people want to because they work there and they're working there and they're making tons of money. So for example, here it talks about they interviewed an agent who priced a home at $1.8 million. There was nothing fancy about this home. In fact, it hadn't been remodeled in years. They expected that it would sell for 2.3 to 2.4. Well, it actually ended up selling at 2.8. And what the interesting quote here from this listing agent is, he says, if we had priced it at 2.2 rather than the 1.8, they don't think that they would have gotten it.
Past 2.5.
Probably
right?
wouldn't.
Wow.
It's a psychological game that if they had overpriced it, they think they wouldn't have gotten as much. So it's just
amazing. Well, that seller must have been just
Right.
so happy.
I have done that, but not exactly a million over, but I've done probably 8 times this year like that. And it is true, if you price it a little bit lower, and you, first of all, residential real estate is all emotions.
Yeah.
So if we fuel emotion, and you get excited about having your family there and your home there and your memories forever,
Yeah.
and then, and then you back it up with logic. So if the price is too high, the logic isn't gonna, you're gonna turn off the emotions.
Yeah.
But if you can fuel the emotion, that's when the seller really wins and it goes up.
And then you pay some people to come by and go, what a beautiful house. Can I put an offer in now? And you get it kind of, get all the crazy going.
You do not have to pay them. And it is the most, I have so much data to back up, it is the most extreme market ever. And, some economists are saying since 2006, it's just, we talked about this last year, the year before, it's just more intense than then.
Scary.
Very scary.
Patty, why aren't more sellers putting houses on the market at these prices?
Well, it's once again, where do you go?
There's nowhere to go. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And then think about this: 15,000 jobs were created in the Bay Area, and only 8,000 new housing units.
Yep.
So there's just and ironically, it's the lowest home ownership in decades. The percentage of home ownership. So buyers are priced out, or they're fed up, or whatever. But it just also tells me, for all of us out there, if you want to be an investor, this is the time to do it because rents are really high. They're going to continue to go high because home ownership is low.
Yeah.
And housing units are low.
And
so,
as long as people's income stays at a certain level and maybe goes up, then you should be okay.
Yeah.
So the record this year so far for overpricing was a home in Seacliff that was priced at $6.3 million and sold for $11. 75% over asking.
Wow.
An increase of $4.7 million.
Amazing.
I was wondering how far is the buying frenzy expanding throughout California? What about Sacramento, for example?
Yeah, Sacramento is strong, but not like the Bay Area. We've got the jobs. It's the healthiest market in the entire world.
Mark, I am kind of curious about that one in Seacliff. How many bidders were there?
So it doesn't give examples, it just gives the
It could be
statement.
obviously an ocean view sort of thing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it could be just one person who just said, look,
and they literally could have bought it for the land. I mean, it's just, that's how crazy it is. A lot of these are being bid up just for the land value. They plan to tear it down and build their dream house. And it goes on to say towards the end, people are calling it a rational exuberance, but it's not a bubble, many say, about to burst. Because past housing bubbles have been a result of outside economic events, like in 08 it was Lehman Brothers bankruptcy, in 01 it was the dot-com crash, in 89 it was the earthquake and stock market mini crash in October. But right now we've got huge amounts of wealth being created in the Bay Area. Money's pouring into the Bay Area. For a lot of people, it's funny money. Yeah. So what's $1 million more if you get what you want, if you actually get the property? And like we've all said, there's so few homes on the market right now relative to the demand and what people are looking for.
Yeah, and you're right. It is, I've got the money and I want what I want, and this is where people are going to live. It's their home. The other part about it becomes about just getting in the game, and it also becomes about winning. So there's a lot of blood on the floor with buyers. They're beat up, they're sick of it, and they are going to win this time. And they're going to
or they're just going to back out.
Or they're going to back out. So if they're going to do whatever it takes to win. And sometimes it becomes about ego. I mean, I did hear about something in San Francisco where they were priced at $5.5 million, ended up closing at $2 million over, and there were only 2 bidders. And it was 2 guys, and they had to win. Somebody had to win. So it becomes like there's ego, there's funny money, there's I'm sick of this. I've been bidding with
I've gone through this 10 times.
Yeah.
But Patty, there are thousands of homes in the Bay Area that have been on the market for months, right?
Yeah.
It's not like every house will sell.
Yeah. Good point, Mike. Yeah, it's all about pricing and pricing it correctly and strategically pricing it so that you can fuel the emotion. So not every house does sell now.
Wow. Well, and I live in Nevada, and there are homes sitting on the market in Nevada because people say, well, I want $1 million, and I think I can get it, but their neighbors are selling for $800, and they're just holding out at $1 million. So again, you're not entitled to get crazy money for your house because it's really market and neighborhood driven.
Okay, hey guys, we're going to take a commercial break here. Before we do, You know what? The hornblower. Have a blast this 4th of July. Wouldn't it be great to just go on the
Sounds
hornblower,
fun.
watching the fireworks on the ocean there?
I'm there.
You're there.
It's got to sell out.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure it will. Choose from a beer lunch cruise. Love that. That's the same guy in the rowboat, right? We give the fish for the day. With free flowing beer and champagne, a premier dinner cruise with 4 courses, or a San Francisco Belle dinner cruise with a hosted bar. Enjoy amazing American fare classics and fabulous drinks. Skip the crowds this year. Boy, I tell you, with watching 4th of July fireworks, there's always crowds. So you can skip the crowds this year and celebrate the US of A on the water underneath the fireworks. Book by visiting hornblower.com or calling 888-HORNBLOWER. All right, so now we're going to go to our second commercial break. Here's our trivia question. Again, the theme is riddles. I am a nut, but have no shell. Too many of me will make you swell. Sweet on the outside, I don't have a middle. This should be enough clues to solve this riddle. All right? The first 3 callers with the correct, I'm not even going to read that again. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Stay with us. You are listening to The Best of Investing. When we come back, we got some very interesting emails for our co-hosts.
Yay.
So there's something, I feel like the right channel is not as strong as the left. It was kind of really fading in and out. I don't know if you... it's everybody. It's you, it's me, it's...
Well, it could be,
I've been
could be the ears.
planning to go down and see Kathy.
Let's put it this way, it's coming across here clean.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So it could be just the ears.
What was that?
Just saying something.
Oh, that's
Planning to go see Kathy. Told me she works at a
She
hair
does.
salon.
Yeah, she'll be around the corner. Like, you could stay parked here and it's across the street.
I think she's on, is it on 4th Street?
Yeah.
Okay. On Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice when
And I
Mike
don't know, I
comes
guess
in.
next
We'll
Wednesday
be able to
because
see
it's
him.
the first, yeah.
Is it towards the freeway on 4th Street or
Well-
back towards the C&D?
Yeah, you know Phoenix, the new Phoenix supper plot there, and then, Joe's, Marin Joe's,
You mean Rafael Joe's?
Rafael
Okay.
Joe's, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just 2 buildings left, 2 doors left.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Yeah, she told me, you
No,
told me
that's great.
something. I wanted to get together with her yesterday, and she said, I was literally all night with my mom, she said, really, because her parents are losing it. And she's like, yeah, I did it one day a week, but I couldn't do it.
It's a hard life.
I know. Yeah.
It's a full-time job taking care of parents.
I'm lucky mine are dead.
Don't make me laugh.
Haven't got
I
one of
so
them
need to
forever.
laugh today.
Okay.
How are they doing?
They're still dead.
Maybe put that, not go on the air with that one.
No, likewise. YouTube only.
Show us the lighter side of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a shadow side of
My
us.
pastor told me, off air, I'll have to tell you a funny joke. My pastor told me. A little off color, but it was funny. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, Patti Cohen, and Mike Zabelin. Hey, I did that without even looking at any of you. I knew who you were. Second trivia question, again, the theme is riddles. I am a nut, but have no shell. Too many of me will make you swell. Sweet on the outside, I don't have a middle. This should be enough clues to solve this riddle.
I can't get
A
my head around
donut.
it. Ah.
A nut. A donut.
Good one.
Okay.
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
I'm a donor whole family, so.
And too many of them do make me swell. Okay. Mark, question for you. If you foreclose on a loan in your fund, do all the shareholders benefit, and how would that work?
Well, the short answer is yes. The long answer is the question was aimed at our company, Pacific Private Money. We are hard money, also called private money lenders. We make real estate secured loans to real estate investors and consumers throughout the Bay Area and Northern California. When you can't get bank financing, we're a good Plan B resource for people who need fast, reliable financing or just simply can't get money from the banks. And so we make a lot of loans that are generally short-term in nature. Not too many people come to us for long-term financing because the pricing just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, money from companies like ours are generally in the Bay Area around 10%. So privately, it can be a little bit less and sometimes even more depending on the nature of the project and the borrower. But generally speaking, a private or hard money loan is going to cost you around 10% and a couple of points for, say, a 12-month loan. May or may not have a prepayment penalty. But we do every now and again make a loan to someone who has a strategy for paying that loan back, and lo and behold, that strategy doesn't come through, and they stop making the payments, and we have to file a notice of default. Now, we've done over 1,000 loans at Pacific Private Money since 2008, and we've only foreclosed on 2 properties, so we don't have a lot of examples to give in that regard. But the question was if a loan in the fund, because we do have the Pacific Private Money Fund, which right now is paying in the low 8% range to the investors in that fund, and has been consistently paying a little over 8% on an annualized basis for the last 2 years. And so we've got right now, we've got about 45 loans in the fund, and they're all performing. But if one starts underperforming or non-performing, we have to file notice of default. We would foreclose on that property if the borrower did not sell and pay us off in time. We'd foreclose, and the fund would revert, like any other lender, would be the owner of that property. And so the disposition of that property might involve some expenses like a realtor or maybe some fix-up costs, but the way the fund is designed, yes, in fact, the fund, as the lender, like any lender in a private transaction, would benefit from any profit that was made from the disposition of that property.
Very good.
So for more information about how to earn 8% or more on your savings or IRA accounts, taking advantage of that very excellent investment opportunity known as trust deed investing or mortgage pool investing at Pacific Private Money, we're experts in that and have been serving our more than 250 clients, happy clients, since 2008. Give us a call, 415-883-2150. That's 415-883-2150, or go to our website, pacificmoneyfund.com, pacificmoneyfund.com.
All right, let's just go down the list here. Patti, question that we received for you says, how many days on the market would you consider that the house was priced right? I mean, if it's sold in 2 days, did I underprice the house?
Well, it's a really good question, but I mean, it's a kind of market where buyers will scope out neighborhoods before it even gets on the market. If you're like have a guy doing extra yard work, they're going to knock on your door and say, "Are you thinking about selling?"
Wow.
And then we'll put up coming soon signs. We never did that before. So really, the house is sold before it even, the house is sold even before it gets on the market. So yes, your house is going to be on as soon as then you hire a realtor and they put the word out to their associates, and the house is sold then. So 2 days on the market is actually a long time.
Well, you know, it's
Especially if it's Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, really, it's done by the hour.
What took
now.
you so long?
I know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. I heard this story. I don't know if this is true. My brother told me this, and I think it was somewhere in Marin. This is going back probably 20 years. But apparently, this one very wealthy person just happened to see this one house. It wasn't even for sale, and just said, you know what, gosh, I just really love this house. Knocked on the door and said, hi, I'd like to buy your house. He said, well, it's not for sale. And he said, well, can I, are you sure? And, oh yeah, okay. So about a week later, the guy comes back and says, seriously, I love your house. He goes, hey, it's not for sale. So
I'll definitely make you an offer you can't refuse.
well, wait. So the guy comes back like a third time, and I think the husband answers the door and goes, what, you again? And he says, yeah, I really want to buy your house. And so the guy yells back to his wife, goes, hey, this guy who wants to buy the house is here again.
Tell him.
Well, yeah, tell him $10 million.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what happened.
Yeah, crazy.
Really, for $10 million, they sold a house.
And
I've
then
heard those
his
stories.
conservator came and said he's just left the assignment.
Yeah,
He's not
exactly.
really
Yeah.
rich.
I know,
So,
exactly.
Patti, how do people get a hold of you if they have more questions about whether pricing their house, etc.?
Yeah, well, I hope they do, because I absolutely love this business, and it's 415-722-4842, and it's Patti Cohn, Pacific Union.
There's a reason why you are numero uno in Marin County. Mike, question for you. This kind of goes along the lines of when you started the show with, is why is it so difficult to find an advisor who doesn't charge a commission or a percentage of my portfolio?
Well, there are really a couple different types of advisors. Broadly speaking, some are, anybody can call themselves a financial advisor. You don't have to be a fiduciary. You can be a broker or a salesperson. Some financial advisors are fiduciaries. However, the fiduciary advisor, generally the registered investment advisor, usually charges on an assets under management model, as you said. Here's one reason: is it's lucrative to do so. It's a very lucrative
for
business.
the broker.
Yeah,
and
those fees tend to be 1% or more. And if you tried to break it down on an hourly basis, if you had someone managing $1 million of your money and they were putting in, let's use add in the technology and the other things that it requires, 10 hours, maybe 15 hours. I mean, it's hard to know how much time is involved, but it's, if you were to charge $300 an hour for that, or some professional fee, maybe what a CPA charges $200-300, you're looking at maybe $3,000 or $4,000. But if you can charge 1%, and when you say 1% or 1.5%, it sure doesn't sound like thousands of dollars. And so, it's easy to charge that way, and people don't hear the percentage. They don't see the dollars, and they also usually fees are taken directly from accounts too, so they don't see a bill all the time. And I think that's just, my personal belief is those advisory fees are too high, especially when you can't really beat the market. What are you really paying for?
They should make
for outperformance.
They should make the client cut a check every month. That should be
and the broker should pay them back if they lose.
Well, no, I mean, it does require it's a professional service, but I notice when I go to my car wash, it doesn't say, well, we want 1% of the value of your Mercedes. I don't have a Mercedes, don't get me wrong, but they don't. And when you go to an estate planning attorney, they don't say, well, I'll do your $5 million estate plan, but I want 1% of it. But if I go to do my taxes, the CPA says, well, you made $1 million a year, I want 1% of that.
Yeah.
Why does the percentage model even have to apply? I mean, for
point.
real estate, let's say, when you have an uncertain outcome, like let's say, will you or will you not sell this house? It can make sense to have a percentage charge.
Yeah, because there's a lot more people wanting to buy it, or have the ability to buy a $400,000 house than a $4 million
and you
house.
get paid at the end when you succeed.
Yeah, and you spend a lot of money as a realtor,
Yeah, and so a seller may not want to pay you $10,000 up front if you're not going to sell the house. So you could say there's some reason to have a percentage-based, but ultimately, whether it's percentage-based or not, the fees have to make sense. They have to bear some correlation to the service, to the value of the service performed. And in today's world, where it's so difficult to, quote, beat the market, to do better than a basket of low-cost diversified index funds, why are you paying 1.5%? What are you paying for?
Yeah.
It's a really good point.
It really is. It's just, like you said, you look at it from the broker's standpoint, and it's like, why should he charge $300 an hour? And by the way, have a hard time collecting that because, Mr. Client doesn't really want to write a check, even though the money is still coming out of his portfolio.
Well, I've only billed my clients directly. I've never taken it from their portfolio. It would be easier if I did. It would be more out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But you know what? It allows me to have more contact with my clients. It allows me to find out if anything has changed. And if they see the value in the service, they'll pay it. And so far, so good.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't lose many clients, do you?
No, but that's also, we haven't had a severe, a really serious market crash either. So that's really where people can sometimes become irrational and say, oh, my advisor didn't get me out of this, and that's so when times are good, it's people are usually happy with their advisors.
Sure.
That's right.
And sometimes you just can't prevent someone from being irrational. There's no getting around that. So.
Well, I remember the old days when the disclosures were not as severe, and basically brokers would say, oh no, don't worry about it. You're not really even paying a commission. The thing is, there was a bid and an asked price, and if you bought at the ask, if you sold immediately, you sold at the bid, and that's where the commission came in.
So, but to finish off here, that's one reason I like to besides managing investments, I like to just have full financial reviews with people too, because a lot of times, as I said, people are do-it-yourselfers, or they just don't really want to change their advisor, but they just want to get some advice on their retirement planning or other things that not all advisors provide full financial planning. They're just selling investments. And so they can't go to their advisor and say, when can I retire?
Yeah.
Should I accelerate my capital gains? Should I accelerate my IRA distributions while I'm temporarily in a low tax tax bracket? Should I lock in my capital gains if I'm in a zero tax bracket? I mean, they can't.
See, the thing is, you have to hire the accountant, the CP, the attorney, the financial advisor. Whereas, like with someone like you, they could get the generic advice, and then if they wanted to go back to their financial advisor, say, hey, listen, I learned about this. Let's implement this plan.
Right. Sure. But you have, when you're paying $20,000 or $25,000 a year in fees, you really want to know it, and almost everyone I see doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Doesn't know it.
That's true. So how do people get a hold of you again?
They can reach me at 415-785-4585 or our website at www.madronellc.com.
Very good. Next week, I believe, we're going to have another special trivia contest where the winner is going to get a 2-night stay at the Cottage Grove Inn. I don't quite have the promotional stuff here, but it looks like a fantastic place, and I will be announcing that within the next week or so. Okay, here's our third and final trivia question on riddles. Break me to make me better. I am immediately set, but now harder to break again. In sport, the best result yet. What is this? That one I'm going to read again. Break me to make me better. I am immediately set, but now harder to break again. In sport, the best result yet. What is this? What am I talking about here? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190 if you can even imagine answering that question. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Maybe it's as simple as a record.
Okay.
Set the record and
That's
it's harder to break.
Actually, that's the
Maybe
answer.
it's that simple.
That's,
okay.
That's the answer.
Okay, there you go.
I know, it's the record.
I was just thinking that.
I say, hopefully that didn't come off on here.
No, I didn't. I don't think so. That's
That's pretty good, though.
So you sold a teeny tiny little home in East Cordova? Are you
Twice.
kidding me?
Are you
Come
kidding?
on.
Yeah.
How's that? What's going on out there?
Twice, and then I sent a postcard out, and the second guy called me and said, "I heard you did this. I would like you to do this again." And he talked to 3 people. He's like, "No question." Unbelievable.
In the .com
It's the
era,
highest 2 price per square foot ever in Cordova. Yeah.
In the .com situation back in 2000, there was a house in Palo Alto that they were some just garbage piece of property. They were asking $400,000 for, and it went for $1,400,000.
Wow, that's
Kid rode up on a
crazy
skateboard
pricing.
and bought it.
Yes. Wow, there's some crazy pricing out there. Where do you start?
Yeah, but it's funny how, like I said, not every home, there's still lots of good homes out there. They're a little overpriced. Maybe a couple
Some just need
and they just aren't selling it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know.
Yeah. Well, sometimes if a property has like 2 strikes against it, once it has 3, forget it. Like strikes against it meaning like on a busy street, 72 steps up, awkward floor
72.
plan that you can never change.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Sure.
gonna be tough no matter what.
What does everybody have? What do you guys have for?
Yeah, we got 13 minutes.
Want to talk about Zillow Make Me Move?
Oh,
Everybody looks at Zillow.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about
Make
Zillow.
me move.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly. In fact, I was looking at Zillow yesterday for something. It's the first time I've ever seen it where it was wrong.
What?
Square footage was like.
Oh, I thought you meant the
literally
value was wrong. I'm like, you're trying to be funny
Wait, for
here.
your house, Edward?
No, my house. So I was looking for.
Well, the owner can go in and change the square footage. Maybe that's what happened.
That's true.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it was like it said it was only 1,300 square feet, and it was like.
It's possible that
2,400.
the records just aren't updated. I mean,
Yeah.
Zillow's just going off public
It
databases.
goes off the
but
tax
the
records, yeah.
value estimate was
Yeah.
almost spot on.
It's
As
possible-
with the.
It's possible it's unpermitted work too, because
That's what it
it
is.
never made it there to
Got it.
become officially updated.
That's always the
true.
reason, yeah.
I don't know.
So Patty, I'll.
Okay.
Go ahead. Can I bring up Airbnb too? What
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
local,
Yeah.
because I'm really curious.
Weave that in.
Yeah,
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Last time for today, Edward Brown here, along with Mark Hahn, Patty Cohen, and Mike Zaglin. This time I had to look at each of you. Can't tell the play without a scorecard. Okay, third and final trivia question riddle. And Patty, you were awesome getting this one. Break me to make me better. I am immediately set, but now harder to break again. In sport, the best result yet. What is this?
A
A
record.
record. That is correct. Very
This
good.
woman is a genius.
Yes, she is a genius, and that's where we're going to head right back to her. Go ahead.
Well, we were talking on the break about Zillow and Make Me Move and how accurate is Zillow, and all that. And so many consumers will look at Zillow. And when I'm going to list a property, I do check it out because I know they're looking. And the problem with Zillow is that fine if they're normally wrong, but sometimes they're really high and sometimes they're really low.
Yeah.
It's just a computer. And in the upper end, like you take a $10 million house, they could be off by 50%, say it's a $5 million house.
Sure.
So there's nothing like a realtor that knows the market that can really assess the property.
Have you found that the certain aspects are accurate, like previous sales in the house? Because I mean, that's sort of
yes.
public record.
All the public records, everybody can get the public record stuff. But value is very difficult. And in most of the country, it's very easy to do value. There's subdivisions and you do it. But that's why we get these big values where, so much is a realtor's value is correct pricing and expert negotiating. And Zillow, a computer, cannot do that.
Is that what Zillow specifically is, just a computer model?
It's
And all they do is just look at
It's just an algorithm.
Yeah, it's an algorithm.
What houses sold recently.
Well, you can't look at condition or.
Condition, that's the big
Right.
thing, right? You get two side-by-side homes, one's remodeled to the T's and the other one hasn't been remodeled in 40 years.
Yeah.
You have a huge price per square foot difference there.
Right,
And also pictures sometimes.
What about a view?
Yeah.
How can it know whether you have a view or not?
right, exactly. And you might have a view, even it knows it has a view because the one down the street and that one down the street has the same view and it's sold for that much more. But what if that view was completely obstructed
Yeah.
by San Quentin or by lots of trees?
Yeah.
And what if it was in fact remodeled, but the workmanship is so shoddy or the colors and the finishes are so tasteless, then they might as well not be remodeled. So a computer just
Wow.
can't do it. And
Dumb
I have
computer.
and I have to say, give Zillow credit, quite remarkable. How
Oh, yeah.
they're
it's a
close.
fabulous
amazing.
tool, but I always cringe when I get a call to our mortgage company, and the first thing out of their mouth, we're talking about the property. Well, Zillow says my house is worth $2.5 million, and then I find out the guy hasn't remodeled it, hasn't done anything to add any value to it.
Yeah.
Maybe bought it for $1.5 million at the height of the last market.
Sure.
Well, they're using a tool intended to be guidance as now expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Are all of them like that? Like Trulia is another one?
Yeah.
It's along the same lines. Right?
Yes, and Trulia I found to be more accurate, but now Zillow
Wow.
bought Trulia last year.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and people do look at Zillow, and
Sure.
that's great, and most people do, but you never want to price it right on like that.
Patty, what about Make Me Move?
And
What's
yeah.
your experience with that, or what's the talk among
Yeah.
real
What
estate agents
is
about
that?
that?
I'm not familiar with Make Me Move.
Well, it's a tool on Zillow that it's a consumer tool where you can, as a homeowner, put down a price that you would want to sell at, and it's make me move. So, the equivalent of knocking on somebody's door and say, do you want to sell? So here you are on the computer saying, okay, well, I like that house, and he said I'll move for this. But of course, it's just craziness because people will be like, yeah, I'll move for $2 million, and it's worth $900.
I was telling Patty I heard it Make Me Move described as a tool to see, as a contest to see which seller is the most delusional.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's
And,
true.
I mean, it's not a legitimate contract.
Well-
Someone says, "Oh, you said I'll move for $2 million, and I'm offering you $2. That's it, done."
And you know what? When I was prospecting for listings a few years ago, I used to call the Make Me Move people and ask them if they're thinking about selling because theoretically they're 3 to 5 months out
smart.
from selling, perhaps.
Yeah.
And so many times I would get, what? The woman answers, what? I don't think about that. I go, well, it says it right here. Oh, that's my husband. He's just playing around.
Yeah, sure.
Most of the time, that's it.
And another interesting tool for Zillow that a lot of people don't actually know about because you have to actually turn it on. It's an option in there, and that is for sales comps. So it'll create a bunch of little yellow dots if you pan out in your neighborhood or any neighborhood. The little yellow dots are all of the recent sales. Now, actually, I say recent sales. Sometimes it goes back 2 years, so you have to check it out. But that's actually a good thing because you go on the MLS and it defaults to 6 months, whereas on Zillow it goes back about 2 years. But you can highlight it and look at it and see what homes in your neighborhood are selling for. And oftentimes there are pictures of the home as well, so you can really get a feel for valuation. That's what I use when I'm looking at trying to determine whether someone who's calling me, giving me a valuation on their property is within reason based on comparable actual real world sales that Zillow has pulled off public
And you have
records and
to
pictures.
opt into that? Because I thought that was just
Well,
part of the
it's
normal.
an option. You have to tell it what
It's
to
a setting.
show you. So it can show you
Oh.
different sets of criteria in colored dots, and one of them you actually have to check the box for sales, for
Oh.
recent sales, and all of a sudden, boom, they just pop up. It's kind of cool.
Very cool.
And really, I mean, what's changed over the last 10, 20 years is that the consumer is so well informed.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
know comps, they know everything. You can find out a lot about people's, it goes to privacy too. I mean, you can check out anybody these days. And so Ziller's a great tool, but you don't rely on it for pricing.
It's like the old days going to funerals and saying, I'm sorry for your loss. You want to sell your house?
Exactly.
That's right. That's where a lot of sales are happening for death and divorce. That's one of the two. It's always been one of the two ways that sales supply actually gets out into the market. Now that's the majority is happening that way in many communities.
I'm going to throw you on the hot seat here. Do you have any recent
Deal of the week.
deal of the week? Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, I've got one that's almost identical to one that we did about a year ago, and it's someone I get a frantic call from a mortgage broker that I know, and says I've got a deal that's about to that has just collapsed because the buyer went into contract for a new build home. This one was in a Merced, so it's not like a $1 million home, but it might as well be to the buyer. I mean, that's it's a dream home. It's a new subdivision. They went into contract 6 months ago. The house is done. They're supposed to close by the end of next week, and I get this call, and it turns out during this recent, actually it was just in the last 30 days, all of their bills were on automatic pay. This borrower. And did you know that on auto pay, a lot of those time out after a certain period of time, and you may not even be notified that your automatic payment now is timed out after 12 or 24 months.
Really?
Well, so
it depends on your bank, I guess, right?
Well, it depends on your vendor, or
Very
the
interesting.
bank, your credit card. So I don't remember exactly what it was. If it was a credit card or what it was, but I believe it was a credit card. The auto pay timed out. It went late. It showed up as a new late on her credit, and the credit went from just over 680 to below 620.
Wow.
Just because of that first
Because of
late
that one late.
And
Wow.
so recent.
Yeah, recent.
And I'm sure they didn't intend for that to happen.
No,
Just
they
like,
did
when you
not.
have so many bills, it's easy to just forget.
Yeah.
So
Can you go to your the credit reporting FICO or whoever and explain them what happened? And get
well, not in a week.
Yeah.
Nothing happens in a week when it comes to your credit. In the rapid rescore, nothing was going to rescue that transaction. So we haven't closed that one yet, but we're going to come to the rescue. And their deposit's hard. They already paid for the upgrades. They'd be out about $25,000 on a $300,000 purchase. So that's a
Wow.
we don't get that particular story that often, but it's a great feeling from a business model point of view to be able to save the transaction for this person. Now, granted, they'll pay a small premium
Sure.
in the grand scheme of things because they're gonna come to us for a 70% loan. And
I was going to ask you what the
it's going to
details
cost
were.
them about 10% on the note rate for as long as they hold that loan, and it's going to be 3 points because of the size of the loan, and they think it might take 6 months to fix. That's what the mortgage broker was telling me. I personally think with the right credit repair assistance, they can get it
Because that's their only ding.
For sure.
That's their only ding, yeah. But it's a real ding, and unless the company agrees to waive it, then I don't know what kind of magic voodoo that some of those credit repair people can do.
Yeah, it depends
some
on
are better than
the
others.
bill too. Because I remember one time, it was one of those crazy things where I accidentally paid on one credit card instead of another, and it was late by a day or something, and it was like I asked for a get out of jail free card, and they gave it to me. So
They do.
it didn't hit my credit.
Now that's happened to me before too. I did get a call from saying, "Hey, you're late." Now it didn't affect my
Appreciate that.
credit at the time, but it's scary to think that. So if you're a consumer, and you have a lot of your bills on auto pay. It pays to check up on
that,
those and make sure that there's not a sunset feature where you no longer where your auto pay has to be renewed.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a very good
amazing.
point. I was just thinking while you're talking about that about my bank. Some of these I just say just pay until I tell you not to.
Yeah. Then you have to remember to tell them not to.
Right.
Yeah.
I just sold a place in Florida, and I was like, I didn't notify the gardener. It's like this, the cobbler with holes in their shoes. When I do my own real estate, I forget things. So I sold a house in Florida. Didn't tell the gardener. I didn't tell the pest control company. Oh well.
Yeah, and then it's like they got paid extra than they needed to.
Yeah.
A couple minutes, people. Anything?
You were talking off the air something a little bit about Airbnb.
The reason I brought that up was I have a friend who was looking for real estate in Sacramento and told me, oh, and I'm going to Airbnb it.
In Sacramento.
I hear that all the time.
And I
in the
said,
craziest neighborhoods.
Yeah, well, and I said, really? Can you really Airbnb something in Sacramento? And she said, oh, yeah, it's downtown and people want to walk towards the state capitol. And I said, well, you have to be careful if you're buying it for that reason because the laws can change.
Yes.
And you shouldn't buy it assuming that the laws will always allow you to do that because there's a lot of public backlash against Airbnbs.
Yeah, and then
Not true. That applies to any area, I'm sure.
yeah, Mike, that's a really good subject to bring up because there's single-family homes and there's cities and there's jurisdictions, but there's also condominium complexes where people do that a lot, and they can make whatever rules they want. And I'm seeing more and more stipulation in there that the rentals have to be 3 to 6 months minimum.
I was going to say, though, I remember looking in Hawaii on Oahu, in this one kind of area that we like, and sure enough, they said, we are not allowed to do any lease less than 30 days.
Yeah, that's big in Hawaii.
And I remember reading that a state senator, or I think it was a state senator, had proposed that a law that would force some of the Airbnb websites to now have to report to the state about any advertisements or revenues or bookings, something like that. And I'm not sure how far that's going to go, but it does show you that it's not just that people are in the neighborhoods are going to lay down and roll over.
Well, not only that, but it's too easy probably to steal from the government by not reporting the income for 14 days.
Because there is tax on that, and Pete, I do not think many people report the tax. Let's get serious.
Oh, come on. Everybody's honest, Patty.
It's worth getting the app just out of curiosity to look and see how many homes in your hometown, in your neighborhood, are on Airbnb, because there are Airbnb rentals being advertised basically in every neighborhood in the Bay Area. It's amazing.
Good point. All right, a good show today. Here's our thoughts for the day. It's hard to make a comeback when you haven't been anywhere. And living on Earth is expensive, but it does include a free trip around the sun. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing.